we have a keynote speaker in our midst. Before I call this wonderful gentleman, I'm going to be honest. What I did is that I did a little search about this wonderful gentleman, and I was so much amazed. I'm going to say only one. So, it says that be patient. I will say it one by one. All right. So what I did is that I went to his website and a client said something. What the client said was that he made him feel like family, not just a client. And that is one culture about we Africans or Ghanaians. We don't just look at business as you are a client, so we just treat you like that. No. But even if you are rendering service for somebody, you treat them as family. And that is very important thing. Let me continue to say that he was born in 1981 in Freetown, Sierra Leone. He can speak a little French. He moved to the US at the age of 6 years to Washington, D.C., where he started his education. Years passed by, as we say, many waters pass under the river. He moved to South Florida, where he graduated from his high school. Due to his hard work, effort, persistence, he has been recognized with many credentials and certificates. He is among the top 15 lawyers, instructing the legal industry to make it better, helping numerous clients in securing over 2 million settlements. This man is great, I'm telling you. Just take your time, you see him. He is the CEO of Darfoor Law Firm, specializing in car accidents, personal injury, and insurance law. We are blessed and honored to have such a seasoned visionary leader guiding us towards the future where justice and fairness is prominent. Please, with a standing ovation, help me to welcome lawyer Kweku Darfoor. Thank you so much, lawyer. Let's welcome lawyer Darfoor. Thank you so much, lawyer. We are blessed to have you, lawyer. We appreciate whatever you are doing for the community. Thank you, lawyer.
Good evening. Fellow Ghanaians and friends of Ghana, it's an honor to be here. I'd like to first, at least start, before I even start, to acknowledge my dad. My dad passed recently, last year, and without him, I wouldn't be here. A lot of things wouldn't happen. So I just wanted to just say that it's an honor to join you at the United Ghanaian Association of South Florida Independence Day Gala. Tonight we celebrate not just Ghana's independence, but the spirit of our people. A spirit that has carried us through challenges and triumphs. As we reflect on our theme, sustaining freedom, securing prosperity, I'd just like to share some personal reflections and stories that I hope will inspire and encourage all of us. My goal is to speak to you from the heart. As Kweku Darfoor, the son, the father, the lawyer, the investor, a proud Ghanaian, and to offer practical ideas for how each of us can help sustain our freedom and secure prosperity for our families. Let me just begin with a thought that has guided me through life's ups and downs. You see, difficulties in life do not have to stop you, even when they break your heart and cut deep. In fact, our hardest trials carry the potential for the highest transformation. If you insist on seeing an experience as purely bad, it's going to stay bad. But if you find a lesson in it, you can turn it into something good. This simple truth reminds us that the worst times can lead to the best outcomes, depending on our mindset. We've all seen examples of this. Have you maybe ever met someone who took a risk, failed, and then gave up completely? For instance, just imagine a young man who leaves a steady job to start a business. It doesn't work out, and he loses money. From then on, he goes around saying, "That was the worst mistake of my life," blaming every future problem on that first failure. He never tries again. Maybe you know someone like this. Someone who lets one setback become a permanent excuse, a crutch that halts their progress. Similarly, think of a person who endured a difficult childhood. Say their parents divorced at a pivotal time. If they choose to dwell only on the pain and blame that event for everything that went wrong, they remain stuck, unable to move forward. On the other hand, we've also seen the opposite. People who face unbelievable hardships, yet refuse to be defeated. Perhaps you know of a woman who lost both parents at a very young age, who had to work odd jobs as a teenager just to survive. She scraped her way through school and eventually built a successful career and a loving family of her own. Instead of letting tragedy define her, she found strength and purpose in it. Maybe she even gives back by mentoring others or speaking about the importance of family unity, turning her pain into power. Or maybe consider an entrepreneur who failed not once, not twice, but multiple times in business. Each failure taught him something new. He kept learning, kept improving, and ultimately became a successful business owner. I'm sure some of us have encountered inspiring individuals like that. People who see opportunity in adversity, who turn trials into transformation. Now, why do I bring up these examples? Because the same exact mindset applies to our nation, Ghana. Just as individuals face trials, our nation has faced its own difficulties. And how we respond will determine our future. Ghana has seen incredible challenges over the years. We've seen political turmoil, such as coups, and periods of authoritarian rule that tore families apart. Economic struggles like heavy debt, high unemployment, and soaring interest rates, and other hardships that tested our resolve. Many of our parents and even our grandparents lived through those tough times. Some even made the difficult choice to leave Ghana in search of a better life. That's how many of us ended up here in the diaspora in South Florida. Now, I want to pause for a moment and share a personal story here. My own family's journey is tied to Ghana's trials and transformations. In the early 80s, during a turbulent period in Ghana's history, my father made a brave decision. At the time, Ghana was under military rule and the future was uncertain. My father was serving our homeland as a diplomat. He was Ghana's High Commissioner to Sierra Leone. It was a prestigious position, one he had worked hard to achieve, but he and my mother looked at the situation around them, the instability, the threat to the freedoms we cherish, and they made a tremendous sacrifice. They decided to leave that life behind and move to the United States, taking a leap of faith for the sake of their children. They believed that in America, we would find freedom, stability, and opportunity, the building blocks of prosperity. In '87, I joined them here as a young boy. My parents essentially traded their comfortable life and careers in Ghana for uncertainty in a new land, all because they wanted a brighter future for their family. That decision was not easy. They arrived in America with little certainty and not much money. They couldn't give us a big house or a trust fund, but what they did give was far more precious. They instilled in us a tenacious work ethic, an unshakable faith, and a love for freedom. They taught us that freedom is something you work for and guard very carefully, and that prosperity is something you earn through education, through hard work, and wise choices. I stand here today as the beneficiary of their courage and vision. Everything I've accomplished, earning a law degree, starting a law firm, investing in real estate, I owe to the foundation they laid and the values they taught me. Their story, like so many diaspora stories, shows that freedom and prosperity are not guaranteed. They are attained through sacrifice, resilience, and hope. So just as individuals turn challenges into triumphs, Ghana can do the same. Our nation's hardships carry the seed of transformation. We've seen it before. Difficult times can inspire innovation. For example, when the economy is tight and loans are hard to get, what happens? Maybe a clever young Ghanaian might come up with a community borrowing scheme. Think of our traditional Susu savings group, but modernized. That allows people to pool money and access capital for business ventures at a lower cost. In fact, there are entrepreneurs already doing this, harnessing the old spirit of cooperation to solve today's problems with technology and creativity. That's just an example of using challenges as a springboard to prosperity. Of course, not everyone responds positively. The same tough conditions might drive another person to choose a negative path, like internet fraud or scams. In a desperate attempt to make quick money, we've all seen it. We hear those unfortunate stories too. What makes the difference between these two outcomes? Mindset and choices. As a people, if we focus on solutions, unity, and hard work, our difficulties won't break us. They'll make us stronger. Now, this is the mentality we need to sustain our freedom and secure our prosperity. So when we look at it, what exactly does sustaining freedom mean, right? Ghana, of course, the first sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence in '57, breaking the chains of colonial rule and igniting hope across the continent. All of us here, we're all heirs to that proud legacy of freedom. Today, thanks to the sacrifices of our forebears, Ghanaians enjoy many precious freedoms. The right to vote and choose our leaders. Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of religion. Freedom to pursue economic opportunities and trade with others. These freedoms are enshrined in our democracy, albeit new, and have become part of who we are. If you travel across Africa and the world, the Ghanaian diaspora stands out as generally educated, outspoken, entrepreneurial, and proud. That's no accident. It's a product of a society that, despite its challenges, has valued education, hard work, and yes, freedom of thought. But freedom once gained must be sustained. How do we ensure that Ghana's freedom, political, social, and economic, is protected for future generations? Well, by being active, responsible citizens and community members. Freedom is not a one-time gift. It's an ongoing responsibility. We have to nurture it, defend it, and use it wisely. For me, sustaining freedom means staying engaged and never becoming complacent. It means that every Ghanaian, whether at home or abroad, takes ownership of our collective destiny. Now, here are just a few ways we can all help sustain the freedoms that we cherish. Stay informed and think critically. We must educate ourselves about what is happening in our communities and in Ghana as a whole. Read the news, understand the issues, and think for yourself. Don't let anyone do your thinking for you. An informed mind is the best defense against losing freedom. When we know our history and our current affairs, we are less likely to repeat mistakes or fall for misinformation. Participate and advocate. Freedom thrives when good people are involved. In Ghana, that means voting in elections, engaging in constructive dialogue, and maybe even volunteering to help in our local towns or joining civic organizations. Here in the diaspora, we might not be able to vote in Ghana's elections, at least maybe not yet. But we can participate in other ways. For example, by joining associations like this one, or by advocating for policies that help our people, and by lending our voices to support democracy back home. Be involved. Whether it's in your local PTA, your city council meetings, or a Ghanaian community group, let your voice be heard. Our diaspora community can influence positive change by staying engaged both locally and in Ghana. Stand up for what's right. We all have issues that we're very passionate about. Maybe it's quality education in Ghana, maybe it's healthcare access, maybe it's disability rights or fighting corruption. Sustaining freedom means pushing for positive change in the areas that matter most. Don't wait for someone to fix the problems you see. If you're passionate about something, speak up, organize, and contribute financially or with your resources. When we address the issues that hold us back, we strengthen the fabric of our freedom. Now, we have to hold our leaders accountable, right? Freedom includes the freedom to hold our leaders accountable. Whether they're politicians, community heads, religious leaders, or even leaders of our associations. We must evaluate the results of those in power. If our leaders make promises, let's follow up. Did they deliver? If they fall short, well, we have the right and the duty to question and demand better. In our Ghanaian democracy, this means continuing to vote wisely and refusing to tolerate incompetence or oppression. As the saying goes, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We have to watch our freedom, and we have to watch over it by ensuring that those entrusted with power use it justly. Some people might say, my one vote or my little effort doesn't matter. But oh, yes it does. Every big change in history began with individuals who decided to act. Think about it. In many elections, a small number of votes can decide the winner. In the US, we've seen elections won just by a few hundred votes. In Ghana too, every voice counts in steering our nation. And beyond elections, your influence in your family and community multiplies. When you set a positive example, your children and friends follow. When you show integrity and stand up for what's right, others are inspired to do the same. Never, never, ever underestimate the power of your individual contribution to sustaining the freedom that we enjoy. As Ghanaians, we can be proud that for decades now, Ghana has been a shining example of democracy in Africa. We have shown that political freedom and stability are possible, even on a continent where many still struggle under conflict or authoritarianism. Let's keep it that way by remaining engaged and upholding the values of freedom, unity, and justice. By sustaining our freedom, we create the stable foundations upon which the second part of our theme rests, securing prosperity. Freedom is the soil in which prosperity can grow. So let's keep that soil healthy and fertile through our active citizenship and vigilance. When our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, declared Ghana's independence, he famously said, "Our independence is meaningless unless it's linked up with the total liberation of Africa." Those words spoke to political freedoms across the continent. Today, I think we could adapt that sentiment just a bit. Our freedom is meaningless unless it leads to the prosperity and well-being of our people. In other words, freedom is not the end goal in itself. It's the means by which we achieve a good life for all Ghanaians. So what does prosperity mean for us? Here in the diaspora and also back home for our families. Prosperity isn't just about having money in the bank. It's about opportunity and security. It means every Ghanaian family can put food on the table, access quality education and healthcare, and have the means to pursue their dreams. It means our youth in Ghana see a future for themselves at home, with good jobs or thriving businesses. It means that our children here connect with where they come from. It means that children back home have an opportunity to thrive there and stay there, instead of feeling like they must escape abroad to make it. It means those of us in the diaspora are not just working to make ends meet today, but are building a foundation of wealth and knowledge that our children and grandchildren can build upon. Prosperity is about hope for a better tomorrow that is within our reach today. Let's be real. Ghana's journey to prosperity has not been easy and it isn't finished. We've made progress, our economy has grown over the decades, and we see Ghanaian businesses and talent succeeding in many fields. Yet we know there's much more to be done. Too many people in Ghana still struggle with poverty and unemployment. As we speak, the Ghanaian economy is facing challenges, and the cost of living has gone up for many. Here in the US, we too face our own economic hurdles as immigrants and minorities trying to get ahead. Securing prosperity is a journey, not a one-time event. And that journey requires deliberate effort, planning, and unity. I believe strongly that the diaspora has a big role to play in Ghana's prosperity. Just look at the impact we already have. The Ghanaian diaspora around the world sends back billions of dollars each year to support loved ones and invest in projects. And in fact, those remittances, the money that I send, you send back home, have become one of the backbones of the economy in Ghana, accounting for a significant portion of our GDP. Think about that for a moment. The hard work that you do here, the savings you send to your aunts or uncle, or to build a house in Kumasi or Accra, are helping to fuel businesses, pay school fees, and build houses in Ghana. We are stakeholders in Ghana's prosperity, even from afar. That's something to be proud of. But we can do even more. Securing prosperity means making smart choices and taking bold actions that create wealth and well-being for ourselves and lift up others. It's about turning our freedom into tangible improvements in our lives. I just want to share a personal example of how I've tried to do this. I'm not the only one. I know that for a fact. As many of you know, my profession, I'm an attorney here in South Florida. I've worked hard to build a successful law practice, but even if I was growing up here in South Florida, in the US, I never lost sight of Ghana. I started going back about 2000, 2001, at age 19 or 20. Though Ghana is not the place I was born, it's my land, it's my home, it's the only home I know. A few years ago, I decided to invest in real estate back in Ghana. I purchased a unit in one of the newest developments in Accra. Some people ask me, Kweku, why put your money in Ghana instead of buying a property here in Florida? My answer was simple. I believe in Ghana's future. I wanted to be a part of that future, and yes, to benefit from it as well. Let me tell you, visiting the construction site of my property in Accra for the first time was a very emotional moment. Here I was, a diasporan who left Ghana as a child, walking on Ghanaian soil as an investor helping shape the skyline of our capital city. It filled me with pride, but more importantly, it opened my eyes to opportunities. that await when we engage with our homeland. That investment is not just a financial asset for me. It's a bridge connecting me back to Ghana. It's creating jobs for workers who build and manage the property. It's encouraging my friends here and even some of my clients to consider Ghana as a place to work and invest in. It's a small piece of securing prosperity for my family and in a very tiny way for others in Ghana too. Now, I'm not saying everyone here needs to go out and buy real estate in Ghana tomorrow. No, if you're interested, let's talk. You'll see some flyers on the table there. In all seriousness, that company, CESO, is doing great things in Ghana and other African countries. But what I am saying is that we all have the power to contribute to prosperity, both for ourselves and for our extended Ghanaian family. My real estate example venture is just one example of a seed planted for the future. Each of you can think of ways to plant your own seeds of prosperity. Some might start a business here or back home, as they have. Some might further their education or help a younger relative through school. Others might invest in stocks or property or develop a skill that's in high demand. Each of these actions, big or small, moves us and our community toward greater prosperity. Now, the beauty of prosperity is that it can have a ripple effect. When one of us succeeds, it often creates opportunities for others. A thriving Ghanaian-owned business here can hire and mentor younger Ghanaians or sponsor community events. A successful career person can guide others or provide for family members. And investment in Ghana can inspire infrastructure development in a whole neighborhood. Prosperity, when shared, multiplies. That is why securing prosperity is a mission we should all take on, collectively. We want to see not just individual success stories, but a whole network of successful, empowered Ghanaian families, both in the diaspora and in Ghana, uplifting each other. I know we all love a good inspirational speech, but I'm also a very practical person. It's important that we walk away tonight not just feeling proud or hopeful, but also with some concrete ideas, actionable steps that we can start implementing right away. Prosperity doesn't happen by chance. We have to work hard at it day by day. So here are just a few practical ways we can ensure prosperity for ourselves and our families. Invest in education and skill development. Applied knowledge is power in today's world. One of the surest paths to prosperity is through continuous learning. Encourage your children to pursue education and marketable skills, but don't stop there. Keep learning yourselves. Whether it's going back for an advanced degree, obtaining a professional cert, or learning a trade or an IT skill, or coding. Never believe it's too late to improve yourself. In our community, we already have value of education. You might hear every Ghanaian parent say, you must go to school. Let's continue that legacy. An investment in your own knowledge or your children's education will pay dividends in the form of better job opportunities, higher earning potential, and the ability to navigate a changing economy. In short, educate to elevate. Save and invest wisely. Prosperity requires planning and discipline. It's easy to get into the habit of working hard and spending everything, especially with family back home depending on us. But remember, always pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Set aside savings from each paycheck if you can, and make those savings work for you. Explore investments that make sense for your situation. Could be contributing to a retirement plan or a 401k, investing in stocks or mutual funds, or buying rental property. For those who feel uncertain about investing, consider starting smaller joining investment groups. In our Ghanaian culture, many of us are familiar with the concept of the investment groups, the SUSU, group saving circles. That's something we can do here. We can modernize that idea here by forming investment clubs or partnerships where we collectively pool our funds to take on bigger investments together. The bottom line is, don't just work for money. Make your money work for you. Even modest investments, given time, can grow and provide financial security for your family. Embrace entrepreneurship and side hustles. Don't let anybody talk to you that you can't do this. Why are you wasting your time? Not everyone will be a business owner, but we all can be a bit entrepreneurial in spirit. If you have a passion or a business idea, give it a chance to grow. It could be a side hustle you do on weekends or an online business you run from home. We live in an era where technology has lowered the barriers to starting enterprises. Maybe you can sell some handmade Ghanaian crafts online, start a consulting service with the skills you already have, or launch a small catering business out of a small commercial kitchen or your own kitchen. As Ghanaians, we are natural entrepreneurs. If you just think about the markets back home, or the many Ghanaian-owned businesses you even see here, starting a business or even a part-time hustle can create additional income streams and potentially turn into a main source of wealth. And if you're not inclined to start your own, you can support others who do. For example, support Ghanaian-owned businesses, both here and in Ghana. When you shop at a friend's store or invest in a cousin's startup back home, you're helping secure prosperity within our community. 4, leverage community and networks. There is an old Ghanaian saying, Tikro nko inja ajinya.
Wow! I like that.
In Akan means one head does not hold counsel. Or 2 heads are better than 1, as we say in America. In other words, we need collaboration. One person alone doesn't have all wisdom. Prosperity is easier to achieve when we support each other. Tap into our vibrant diaspora network. We have associations, alumni groups, churches, and social clubs. These are not just for socializing and coming together and chale, let's party. They can be powerful networks for opportunities. Share job openings with each other. Mentor the younger ones in our community or form partnerships to pursue bigger projects. Give back and invest in Ghana. Never underestimate the power of giving back, both charitably and through our investments. These are just a few actionable ideas. Each of us can find 1 or 2 that resonate and start implementing them. The key is to take action. My dear brothers and sisters, as I wrap up, remember this. We are a generation tasked with both preserving the freedom passed on down to us and ensuring prosperity and achieving that, the prosperity that we dream of. Our parents and grandparents won our freedom on March 6, 57. They raised a red, gold, and green flag with a black star and declared Ghana free forever. That freedom was hard-earned and is priceless. Now it falls to us and our children, especially those of us in the diaspora enjoying the fruits of that freedom from abroad, to make sure that freedom is not wasted. We must use it to build something meaningful in our personal lives, in our community, and in our homeland. I want to thank all of you for listening to my story and ideas tonight.